So, new Let's Play time. As you can clearly see, by the way, that well, I guess let's do the standard way. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new Let's Play. This time, we're back in the Persona series. What? Yeah, we're back in the Persona series once again, this time with an actual RPG and not a dancing game spin-off with totally my first time talking about Persona 3 on this channel. What? I never did any sort of, like, dancing game videos. I don't know what you're talking about. We are doing Persona 3 Reload, the remake that came out back earlier this year. It recently got it finally got the DLC campaign episode Aegis, and I decided now is a pretty good time to dive into the Let's Play, and yeah. I mean, I already did Persona 5 for the Let's Play channel. That was years ago, and that was right when Royal came out, so I never did do a Royal Let's Play, but I decided, why not do 3? Because in terms of gameplay, 3 is my favorite of... Oh, actually, no, 3 is just my favorite Persona game, period. I love its story, I love its characters, I love its soundtrack, especially Reloads. I think Reloads' soundtrack is really good. And by the way, this intro, I love this intro so much. It is a really good intro. Like, I can't express how... I didn't see the intro until I bought the game myself on release date. And, you know, I didn't... Like, it just felt like a really good intro. I don't... This might be one of my favorite intros in the Persona series in general. But that is still not 100% sure on that one. But what's funny is I actually have 2 fucking copies of this game for the PS5. I have one because I bought one from work because I pre-ordered on Amazon, but they kept telling me that it was going to take like 2 extra weeks for it to come out, and I really didn't want to wait 2 weeks for that. Because I don't know why. I just have shit luck pre-ordering games, I guess. I don't know. But I didn't want to wait for the pre-order to show up, so I canceled the order, but I guess they already, by the time I canceled it, they already shipped it out, and I didn't cancel it fast enough, or they just said fuck it and just shipped it to me anyway. Why'd I skip that? Oh, I know why. I fucked up. So, yes. I guess I should get into how this Let's Play is going to go down. Because this is going to be similar to my Persona 5 Let's Play, where I'm doing a new game. I'm using New Game Plus to get through this game, and that is for the sake of, once again, flow and just getting through everything faster. Because I know you guys would rather not sit through me grinding through Tartarus, especially when we do get over to Tartarus. It's going to get pretty boring if I did a new playthrough. But this right here is actually just telling you what carries over in New Game Plus, and it's pretty standard stuff. You know, it's your current money, equipment, all that stuff. The only thing is, for some reason, this was in the original too, was in terms of character levels, the only character's level that carried over was the protagonist, or Makoto Yuki's. Um, why so meaning that if he was at level 99 and everyone else was at level 99 too, Makoto's the only one that stays at level 99. And I don't know why he was the only one. And I'm not saying it should have just been him or everybody. It should have been everybody or no one. But honestly, I feel like it should have just been nobody at that point. But for the sake of Reload, I kind of understand them keeping it because, you know, they want to keep it like the original in terms of how the gameplay works for the most part, but I will say Persona 3 Reload plays almost nothing like the original in terms of combat and how certain things work. I will be getting into all of that at a later time because this is the first part, and this part is purely story related, because this is kind of one thing that this is actually a little, you know, different than Persona 5. You know, you don't start off with like battles or anything like that. I think your first battle isn't until... I think our first battle isn't until part 2, I want to say.
Just put it to my head.
Um, but
And
I guess
then
my
pull the
experience
trigger.
with Persona 3 specifically, I've already talked about my experience with Persona 5, but Persona 3 specifically, I have a little more exposure to it. One, I did play a lot of it when I was younger. I don't recall ever beating it when I was younger because it was, I was probably like, I was really young and I didn't know what I was doing most of the time. I didn't have a guide at the time, so I don't think I ever finished it. In fact, I think I want to say I got to December, so I probably was really close to beating it. I just, for some reason, couldn't, and I was also a kid with like little to no attention span, so. Um, but I played a lot of it was either the original or FES. I can't remember, because yes, I'm aware that there were two versions of Persona 3. Yes, there are officially four versions of Persona 3 now. There is the original on PS2, FES on PS2, Portable on the PlayStation Portable, and now Reload. Um, and this was actually a huge thing. A lot of people were wondering, is like, did Persona 3 really need the remake treatment first? Out of all the other Persona games, what about Persona 1 or Persona 2? And, I mean, I was not entirely opposed to the Persona 3 remake, but I also wasn't surprised by it, mainly because it was leaked. I don't. So it was, I want to say last year, or around the time Sonic Frontiers came out, some footage leaked of beta footage of Sonic Frontiers, where it was Kronos Islands' Titan fight, but there were certain things that went unused in the final game. Along with that leak, there was some footage of Yukari, Yukari from this game doing her what we know as her Theurgy move. And at first, everyone just thought it was, just some glorified test footage of, maybe they were planning some sort of new Persona 3 related game, that wasn't a Persona 3 remake. Because I believe people thought she was using they were using a slightly higher quality version of her Persona 3 dancing model. No, it was a Persona 3 remake. And a few months later, they announced that Persona 3 Reload was coming out and that it was a remake of the original game. But, so, a lot of people, myself included, weren't entirely surprised by it. But, I'm on it. I was more surprised at the fact that they did it in the first place, not by the fact that it was coming, if that makes sense.
I've been waiting a long
But,
time.
I was happy, and I pre-ordered the game as soon as I could, and then I was so lucky that my job had got copies a day or got copies the day of, because we typically don't get every game on the day it comes out, because shipping errors and shit like that. Working retail's not fun, but it is cool working in the electronics department now, because I could see like what comes right in packaging, and it's kind of like I get like a little preview of what's coming in the next few weeks, and plus it also helps them know, because since I keep up with gaming stuff all the time, that they know that I know exactly what games are coming out at what times for the most part. But by the way, yes, I am naming the protagonist Makoto Yuki. I don't care what you think the canon name is. I personally think it's Makoto Yuki. And no one can really change my mind on that. I just think it works for him. And also because the anime really did make it official to me, because I love the anime. The anime is really good. Yes, there is a Persona 3 anime. Well, it's more for OVAs, and they're all during each of the seasons of the year. I should probably get into what the hell's going on screen, but yeah, I guess I should. So, yeah, we clearly see that something's going on, because the sky turned green and, everyone turned into coffins, and now we got two weird girls here with guns on their waist and armbands. So, something's going on here. But our protagonist here, he's moving into Iwatodai
I guess we'll see.
Dorm for the new school year because,
She'll be a second
spoiling
guest.
this now, the protagonist is an orphan. His parents are dead. His parents are dead. So, yeah, I'm just going to rip that band-aid right off. His parents are dead. So yeah, he doesn't really have anywhere to live, but there is actually a reason he's moving into this specific dorm. They will get into it in the coming parts, but it's because the people who live in this dorm suspect that he actually has access to personas, but you know, this is all stuff that they'll be getting into in the coming parts. I don't know if I have to state this, but I feel like I should. Spoilers for Persona 3 are abundant throughout this game because there will be a certain... I won't do the same thing I did for back in Persona 5 where after a certain point in the story I put spoiler warnings for every part, but I will be putting spoiler warnings for major major events, especially that are spoiler heavy. So I would probably put spoiler warnings at the beginning of the episode Aegis campaign when I do that. The certain full moon operations and that kind of stuff. But again, since this is a Persona 3 Let's Play and Persona 3 has been out for like 20 plus years, I'm not really gonna post a spoiler warning throughout this game because, again, it's pretty obvious. I won't be talking about, plot-heavy spoilers until, those moments pop up. I won't be saying, I won't be telling you about the ending of the game right now, but I will be, when those things start to pop up, I will be talking about them more. But also, it's just, I feel like I should, make sure everyone knows that this is a spoiler-heavy Let's Play. But I am approaching this Let's Play in a very similar fashion to my Persona 5 Let's Play. I'm going to keep mentioning it because I'm going to keep comparing the two Let's Plays in terms of how I'm doing it. So this will be a New Game Plus run, but I will be going after all of the social links. And yeah, that's really it. I'm basically doing my definition of 100%, and I will be following a schedule like I did back in Persona 5, despite the fact that all of my social stats and stuff like that are already at max level. Because, I don't want this to just be a, I do want people to use this as a bit of a guide to understand exactly what to do and when to do it for Persona 3. And plus, it would be kind of just boring to watch me go to the arcade or, sleep through every day. So that's the main reason I'm still following the schedule. I know it could have just been easier just to make a new file, but I like this, again, it is for the sake of battles, so I can just get through them faster and not have to worry about grinding too much.
Good morning.
Especially because of the simple fact that Makoto stays at level 99. Because just like in Persona 5, again, I know Persona 3 technically came first, but since in terms of this channel, I did Persona 5 first, if the protagonist dies at all in this game, unless you're playing on peaceful difficulty, it's game over. So, just keep that in mind. But, I am getting way ahead of myself in terms of that. I guess I could probably need to get back to my exposure of Persona 3 because I did eventually get back into the Persona series when Persona 5 came out. Around that time, I want to say, because I do remember seeing a trailer for it, and then I said, "Oh, I know that game title." It's like I know the first part of the title. I didn't know they had a fourth game in between then and now. So I picked up Persona 5, played through it, legitimately enjoyed what I played, and then decided to go back into Persona 3. And surprisingly, I had no problem going back into it since I played it before as a kid. But nowadays people will say that they do not like playing Persona 3 because of various reasons. In terms of a lot of the things in Persona 3, it is clear that it is the first time they do certain aspects of of the newer Persona games. The social link system is the big one that a lot of people go to when they're talking about Persona 3, and the battle system too. But again, I will get into all that at a later time. But yeah. So I beat Persona 3, I believe it was the FES, and I beat the Answer, and then I just kept playing Persona games. I played through 1 and 2 for Golden, and I actually did play through Persona 3 Portable. Yes, so this will technically be the only... So since this is the definitive way to play Persona 3 nowadays, I know some people think that this is not a good remake. I've actually, yes, surprisingly, I have heard that people do not like this remake for various reasons. A lot of those reasons I don't quite agree with personally, but that's just me. Like, but, you know, a lot of people complain that, you know, they did go a little too far in terms of doing the stylistic stuff that Persona 5 did, because that was kind of one thing that a lot of people noticed, is that this game is sort of remaking Persona 3 to be more like Persona 5 in terms of style. And, I mean, you can even tell just from the main menu, and hell, look at the portraits right now and how they show up on screen and stuff like that. Yeah, they're trying to, you know, make it more like Persona 5. And I'm not 100% opposed to it, but I also can't understand where that complaint comes from. Me personally, I'm fine with it. You know, it's not like as, you know, it's not as in your face as Persona 5 is, but it's still kind of in your face. But, you know, Persona 3 Reload is, you know, I would say it is the definitive way to play Persona 3, especially if you are someone who just could not get into Persona 3 originally because of maybe the battle system and the social link system and how that worked originally. So Persona 3 Reload is probably the perfect way. That, or you can play Persona 3 Portable if you don't mind the visual novel style way of cutscenes in that game. Because that was one thing a lot of people, you know, get turned off on about Persona 3 Portable. And that's the other reason I said this will probably be the only time I really touch Persona 3, the RPG, on this channel. Because of, you know, yes, I am highly aware of the Persona 3 Portable female route. But at the same time, I am not 100% sure I don't want to say waste my time with that, but I'm not sure if I want to do that for the channel, considering it's really just the same story with a few details changed, and social links are changed around to fit the fact that you're a woman now instead of a boy. I don't know why I said it like that. You know what I mean, though. I am very tired. But
I teach composition. Welcome to our school.
am I gonna do anything? I think this is the point when I was trying to decide if I wanted to make Makoto into the anime version where he literally doesn't care about anything, or if I wanted to make him all cheerful.
And so, another new school year is upon us. I'd like each of you to remember the proverb. If a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well. When applied to student life, this means...
Hey, you came to school with Takeba-san this morning, right? Saw you two walking together. You must be pretty close.
But,
huh? What's the deal between you and her? Oh,
I'm trying to think.
And,
Uh,
now Nobody seems
Yes,
to
by
know.
the way, this will be the Tuesday, Thursday Let's Play for right now. I will eventually move it to Monday, Wednesday, Friday after I finish Spider-Man, or, you know, when I feel like it. Whatever happens
Oh,
first.
really? I thought you were home, but guess not. Wait.
I will
close
not,
are you guys?
I assure you this time, this RPG will go through. I will make sure it does, motherfucker. I have already recorded 2 sessions of this damn game, and I am not stopping now.
You're gonna get me in trouble.
I mean, the only, like, major delay that would probably happen is between the finale of the main story and then, the start of episode I guess, because I'm probably just going to make that a separate, like, I would probably name that something else. Like, I would probably say Persona 3 Reload episode I guess, part 1. That way, you know, I can say that Persona 3 finale is Persona 3 finale, and then, you know, you keep it separate. But that's all technical stuff that I am not, yeah, I doubt you guys give a shit about. And let's meet. We actually met our first party member, I mean friend, Junpei Iori, and that's another thing that this is another thing I'm actually going to mention real quick. Another thing that a lot of people complained about when Persona 3 was announced was they changed the voice cast. Because almost every major character, every character in this game got a voice change. I think the only exception I want to say is Elizabeth. I believe Elizabeth and maybe Igor. Elizabeth and Igor's voices didn't change. Elizabeth, but the thing about the whole voice cast changing to me that confuses me is the fact that Elizabeth's voice didn't change, but Mitsuru's did, if I remember correctly. Or, well, there's a simple solution to this. There's a thing called Google.
Hey, you didn't tell anyone about you know what, did you? Don't tell me you forgot already. Seriously, don't say anything
There we
about
go.
that
Behind the
today,
voice
okay?
actors is. So yes.
What?
Yep, they did change. Yeah. So they changed Mitsuru's voice actress, but they didn't change Elizabeth's for some reason. And Igor is still the same. It's still Kirk Thornton for Igor. I think it's all the major characters that got a change. Like social link characters and stuff like that, not like all like minor characters. The old voice cast does appear in this game, by the way. There, like Yuri Lowenthal does have a voice role in this game.
Who cares? Rumor seriously anyway. She's so paranoid.
I believe he is in this game, but like he's like a background character. And there's some other Persona voice actors that appear, like the voice actor for Joker. Appears in this game, besides his super boss in episode I guess. By the way, yeah, I'm not spoiling anything there. Atlas spoiled that themselves. But to let you know who the voice actors are, at least for the characters that appear in this part, Makoto Yuki and that kid from the beginning of the game that made us sign the contract is voiced by Alex Lee, and I believe this is actually my first role that I've heard him in. I didn't recognize him from anything else.
You think so?
I'm looking through his behind the voice actor credits thing. I'm trying to see if I recognize him from anything. No, no, I wouldn't have recognized him if he was a Sentinel guard from Doom Eternal, but apparently he was one. Oh, okay, I do recognize him then, because he plays Akira Howard from Astral Chain. That's how I recognize. Oh, he's also Nightmare On in FNAF Ultimate Custom Night. I did not know that. Yukari's voice actress is Heather Gonzalez. I definitely don't recognize her, actually. I don't recognize that.
That's right.
Okay, maybe I do, because she's Church and Fire Emblem Heroes. Okay, well, that's actually not fair because that's the mobile game. I don't think she played her in Awakening, but I could be wrong. um,
Check out the jocks on their run. Hey, you thinking about joining the club?
Junpei is played by Zeno Robinson. Apologies if I butcher any of these names.
Arms, man.
Um,
Must be nice. Talk about living life wild and free.
he does sound familiar to me. That's why he's Fagato from Fire Emblem Engage. All right, good to know. I didn't know that. There's got to be someone else because I feel like there's someone else that I recognize him as, but it's just not hitting me yet. And also all the music got remixed for this game. At least most of it did. I think there are a few themes that kind of stayed the same, but the soundtrack is pretty much almost all remixed. But it's actually really good. I think most of the remixes are pretty good. The only like song I can think of that I absolutely don't like from this game, from the remake, is probably the Mass Destruction remix. I'm not sure. Anyway, Akihiko Sanada is voiced by Alejandro Saab. Or Sab. Again, I apologize now. He definitely sounded familiar to me, but I could also just be crazy.
Yes.
He's Yuri from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Oh my god. I love how my mind works. I'm like, I know I heard that voice before, but I can't quite place my finger on it because they probably didn't voice the main character. Or I just don't remember them that well. Yuri's an exception. I love Yuri. Mitsuru is voiced by Allegra Clark. I think she actually has a pretty notable role. Yeah, she is Dorothea and Shamir from Fire Emblem Three Houses. I knew that one. I knew I recognized that one.
Yes.
And there was another one that I recognized her from. I didn't play Pokemon Masters, so I wouldn't say Cynthia. Maybe not. I might be thinking of somebody else. No, yeah, for the first few days in this game, you can't really do anything except go to school and sleep because, we're a tutorial.
I'm going out for a bit.
Susie Young is Fuka's voice actress, and I knew her. She's Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. I knew that one.
Developing in people who showed no symptoms prior. It's been quite a topic of discussion. They say it's due to stress,
I'll stop that there. I don't want to be reading off voice actors all day. But again, the new voice actors aren't terrible, but they aren't. This might also be my nostalgia filter kind of kicking in for a little bit. There are some scenes that I think the original voice acting was just better in, because I no offense to the new voice actors, I'm sure they were just told to do it their own way. But, there are certain scenes that I think the originals just did a little bit better on than the newer ones. Not saying the new ones are bad. In fact, in some instances, I think the newer voice actors are better than the old ones. But that could also be because, that was a PS2 era game, and this is now a PS5 era game. So it's kind of, apples and oranges a little bit. But, I think the main critique I hear about Akihiko is that his voice is too deep. Or something like that, but I don't know. But I kind of like his new voice actor more than the original. I know nothing for Akihiko will ever be. I've been waiting for this, but I think Akihiko's new voice actor is just a little bit better than his old one. I did like Yuri Lowenthal as Makoto, but Alex Lee is pretty good. And plus he's a lot easier to impersonate than Yuri. I can do the what to do a lot easier. But that's just my personal opinion. That is actually going to end it for the part today. It was a relatively short one. Because it's a lot of story, and I don't want to do hour-long parts because we'd be here forever. I'm gonna try to cut parts off at the end of days, or at the end of days and beginnings of next days, or whenever I go to the dark hour. But that is a approach thing that will come at a later time. So the next time we meet in Persona 3 Reload, we are going to be continuing on with story, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're going to be awakening to our persona, but I could be wrong. So see you guys next time, and take care.